Good morning. It is Friday, and today we're going to read Matthew chapter 8. First off, I hope you had a great week. It's been a good week here. Got to go see one of the granddaughters play her last soccer game yesterday, and it's always a lot of fun to go watch them play. I love watching kids play sports. It's fun for me, and I think it's fun for most everybody, especially when, of course, now Zaffy is not real young. She is good at what she does, and her team is good. I enjoyed watching them, but it's also fun to watch the little bitty kids, like when they play t-ball and things like that. If you have kids in your family or even friends, do your best to go support them a little bit when they're playing. And I know there are kids out there who don't have anybody to come, and maybe you want to step up and be an adoptive grandparent for the day, or adoptive aunt or uncle, so you can go and cheer them on and let them know that there are people in the audience who are watching them. But anyway, that's always a good thing to do. So today I'm going to read Matthew chapter 8, and it starts off, Jesus cleanses a leper. When he came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper came to him and knelt before him, saying, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will be clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a proof to them. Well, now, to me, the fact that the man said, I know you can make me clean. If you will, Lord, make me clean. That was his faith in Jesus. And Jesus, simply by stretching, as far as I'm concerned, Jesus simply by stretching his hand out, the act of healing started then. I don't believe Jesus could have touched him if he was unclean. That's my own opinion, but I believe the act of Jesus touching him would have made him clean, if you see what I'm saying. Not that Jesus couldn't touch him, but that Jesus's holiness itself would have made him clean. He couldn't have touched him and him remain unclean. That's what I mean. Okay. The next section is titled The Faith of a Centurion. When he had entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly. And he said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion replied, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, to my servant. Do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed him, truly I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith. I tell you, many will come from east and west and recline at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, while the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And to the centurion Jesus said, go, let it be done for you as you have believed. And the servant was healed at that very moment. So the centurion recognized Jesus' authority. Even though he was not a Jew, he recognized that Jesus had authority over life and death, health and sickness, all those things. He recognized that Jesus was a person of authority because he was a person under authority. He could always recognize a person over him. Even if he didn't know who they were, he could tell what their authority was by the way they carried themselves, their whole demeanor. And so he knew Jesus was a person of authority. The next section is titled Jesus Heals Many. And when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she rose and began to serve him. That evening they brought to him many who were oppressed by demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. He took our illnesses and bore our diseases. And the next section is titled The Cost of Following Jesus. Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to go over to the other side. And a scribe came up and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Another of the disciples said to him, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. And Jesus said to him, Follow me and leave the dead to bury their own dead. Now, I've discussed this with other people. It sounds heartless of Jesus the way he's saying it, but I always wonder if maybe the man was saying, listen, let me wait until my father dies and I can bury him, and then I'll come follow you. And Jesus was saying, no, you have to follow me now. I know from Jesus's other interactions with people, Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law when she was ill. He stopped and healed other people. So I can't believe that he would have said, no, you're not even going to take time to go bury your father if his father was truly dead. Now, that's just my thinking. I don't know. Maybe somebody with a little more knowledge can wade in here. But to me, it's Jesus saying, you have to follow me now. Don't wait until your family's gone and you don't have to be with them anymore. Jesus calms the storm. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, Save us, Lord, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you afraid, O you of little faith? Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, What sort of man is this, that even the winds and sea obey him? And then the last section is titled, Jesus Heals Two Men with Demons. And when they came to the other side, to the country of the Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men met him, coming out of the tombs, so fierce that no one could pass that way. And behold, they cried out, What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Now a herd of many pigs was feeding at some distance from them. And the demons begged him, saying, If you cast us out, send us away into the herd of pigs. And he said to them, Go. So they came out and went into the pigs, and behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the waters. The herdsmen fled, and going into the city, they told everything, especially what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And behold, all the city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. In other words, they didn't want to be bothered by him. He was too much of a troublemaker. He was changing the things that were going on. And there were all those pigs down in the sea. Well, my question is, I know that the Israelites weren't to eat pork. And I don't know if the other people in that area ate pork or not, but it seems to me like maybe they didn't. So why were they raising pigs if they couldn't eat pork? Now, I don't know. Again, that's just my thinking. But I do know that Jesus saved those 2 men. He made them free. And I don't understand everything that Jesus does. I don't. And I've told y'all before, I have asked Jesus, in one case especially, why did you do that? Why did you allow that to happen? Why did you do that? And his response to me was, it's none of your business. And I know I've said this before, but he said, good morning, Dodie, it's none of your business. Well, that was the perfect answer for me, because if he had said, I'm doing this because, and told me the reason, I might have said, well, instead of doing that, do this, and I would have tried to argue with him and not wanted to go along with what he was saying. But because he said it was none of my business, I knew I had to hush and just take what he said at face value. And that settled my mind, that settled my heart. My heart was peaceful because it was none of my business. I didn't need to know why he did what he did. And so anyway, Got a lot of prayer requests this week. I've got a friend who's got to have a procedure done next week, and I know he would have, I'm not going to name names, but I know he would appreciate if you pray for him. Got some folks in our church family who have just had new babies. I know they would appreciate you praying for them. Some of our church members are going on a mission trip tomorrow to Belize. They're actually taking a type of water filter that I've seen it demonstrated. The filter itself is about the size of this can, and you can see it's not a very big can. But they take this water filter, and everything that you need comes with this filter. And you get a 5-gallon bucket, and you attach this filter towards the bottom of the bucket. And there's even the little tool to cut the hole for the filter to go in, and I mean, everything is right there. You don't have to have anything else. And you put that filter on that bucket, and then you fill that bucket up with water, and as it comes through, it filters. And I forgot how many hundreds of gallons of water it filters, and then to clean it, you just have to backwash it. And then it's ready to go again. So I'm going to say 100,000 gallons of water, but it may be more than that. I don't remember. But it's amazing. Well, the folks that I know that are going on this trip, they're going to Belize, and they're taking people this water filter and giving it. There's one. They give one to each family, so you don't have to wait for somebody else's to be done with theirs. Each family gets a filter, and then they offer them the story of Jesus. They don't say, if you listen to us, we'll give you this filter. They give them the filter, and then they tell them where they can get living water. Giving them this filter is going to hugely impact their lives. They're going to be more healthy. The kids are going to be more healthy, able to go to school. It's just going to be a huge impact on these people. But the fact that they're also offering them living water, which is Jesus, that's just as amazing. And I can't wait for them to come home so we can hear some of the stories that they get to tell us. They're going to be blessed, and then they're going to come home and bless us. So anyway, thank y'all for joining me. I'm sorry I missed y'all yesterday. I had a couple of meetings, and then I went to see Zaffy play soccer, and by the time I got home, it just totally slipped my mind until it was too late, and I wouldn't do it real late last night. But I'm back at it today, and I plan to be back at it every day except Sunday. Now, I'm not going to do it on Sunday because there's so many other things going on, and you need to be in church listening to your pastor on Sunday. I'll just say it that way. But I'm glad y'all joined me this morning. I hope y'all have a great day, and I hope y'all have a great weekend.